I think I'm a very prideful man, so I can't do like TikTok challenges and like you know like doing these things where do you know what I mean? And that's my thing, bro. Like everyone's like, no, this is how you grow on TikTok, but then it's like I'm not about to like twerk because that's what's happening. Oh, the
TikTokers, do you have no pride? We are out here with the Creatre Cast gang. It's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, and I'm sitting here with Mr. Rocky Roadpool, Shane Thompson, and Sam Plays. Can I get a what's up?
Wait.
Gang.
How's everybody doing?
All good.
Good.
Me, I'm nice, bro. I'm nice.
That's what we like. I think let's just take a moment to go live on YouTube. These technical difficulties, man. But yeah, I think to kick it off, like this is the Creature Cast episode 2, and today we are chatting to the rest of the gang that wasn't able to make the first episode. So these are the men and women, aka Nat from previous shows, who are a part of the JD team and make things happen here at Creatre. So we wanted to do a podcast just to talk about what's happening in the content space, just to get to know everyone that's in the team, and just to have some good vibes, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if anyone wants to introduce themselves first. I mean, I'm not going to introduce myself because I did in the first episode. So
I can start. So yeah, guys, hi, welcome to the cast. My name is Sumke Lokoza, but online I go by as Sam Plays. How I got that name is that's my gamer tag essentially. So I started gaming about 6 years ago. And yeah, pretty much build a brand around that, you know, releasing videos on YouTube based on my gaming stuff. And that just turned into a beast of its own. Now I'm just a content creator, still on the grind, trying to figure it out, and a digital marketer as well on the side. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Gang. So that's why Sam's setup is looking so crispy clean, because been on what you call it, the Twitcherverse. Is that
I don't know about that one. It's Twitch for sure. Yeah.
Anyone else want to hop in? Like,
Shane?
Tahir, you want to take this or should I?
Yeah, you
I can't wait for us to get over this awkward phase. You know? Things are gonna flow smooth at some point, but we just need to get a little bit over that hurdle. We'll get there, though. We'll get there.
It's not being awkward. It's being polite.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, let others go first.
This ain't about being polite. I mean, the games night's happening after this. I think all the politeness and political correctness is gonna go out the window at that point. So Shane, don't stress about being polite here, man.
Okay, then in that case, I'll go next. So basically, my name is Shane Thompson. I'm basically a social media manager and marketer. Also, I'm a podcast host and recently launched a gaming and YouTube channel. So also getting into the content creation space. So yeah, that's basically me.
Shane in a nutshell. Lovely. Thank you, Shane. Mr. Tahir.
Alright, so I like Sam, I use my gamer tag for my content creation, Rocky Roadpool. I'm still in matric, so I make videos when I can. I have a political show where it's called The Independent Variable on YouTube and Instagram, and I run it on there, basically covering like different current affairs and things like that. Also have a main YouTube channel where I post vlogs, and then I edit for Josh and the team.
Shout out.
Nice.
Yo, to hear like your YouTube channel, you recently went viral with one of your clips. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's sitting on 18K. The Kanye West.
18K.
Yeah.
Yo.
Hectic.
It's my first time.
How did you manage that, my friend?
I don't know. I didn't put I don't even think I put tags or anything on it. It just blew up.
Mm.
Nah, that's dope. That's what we like to see. I think like something that's really essential to something like that blowing up is like just timeliness. And speaking of timeliness, I mean, if we want to be blowing up here, there's probably one thing we should be talking about right now. Like, I don't know if anyone's willing to hop on that topic, but you getting where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I'm the only one in the dark here.
For real, Sam, bro. Do you not watch the Oscars?
Yeah. Oh, snap. Okay. I'm with you. And that was wild, bro. Yo.
Hey.
That was wild. I did not see that coming.
Do you guys think that ish was real, hey? Or do you think it was staged? Because like with the Oscars, their viewership has been plummeting. It's been plummeting for the longest time. Yeah. So it makes sense to, add a little bit of spice here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. It would make sense if it was staged, considering Chris Rock is most going on tour now. And within one day, like his sales grew more than it did in the past month. So if it was staged, that's a very good, platform that he gained. But if it's not staged, it's a mad situation.
I'm not gonna lie. If that was acting, that was insane acting. Like they should have just won an Oscar for that. Like because it looked so real, bro. Yeah. Like the way they reacted, I've never seen like Chris Rock stumble on his words or anything like that. And you could see there was a moment where he was just like, "The fuck? Like what just happened?"
Yeah. I think it has to be real, man. I don't think it was because there's when it comes at the expense of Jada, like she took a huge blow in terms of like that's a touchy subject, yeah. So I don't know if she would be okay with taking such a huge blow in public at the expense of her health, and then you also have your man go there and essentially violate someone like in public. Like there's a lot going on for it to be staged, man. I think it's just I think Chris Rock really touched the nerve, and Will Smith reacted that way, like genuinely. I genuinely think so. And that was weird, man.
Will Smith is like the type of guy who makes money off of his image of being a good guy. He's that motivational guy that everyone follows and that everyone watches on YouTube and things like that. So for him to now jeopardize that image that's making him money doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. The thing is, like these things, they thrive off of attention, right? So, and if you look at a lot of people's careers, like as celebrities, they go through like these different story arcs, where like at one point they're like everyone's hero. A great example is Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, all of these guys, like at some point they're a hero. Like everyone loves them. They're like the apple of everyone's eye. And then later down the line, they going through the dumps, there's some sort of controversy. There's some sort of like stuff that comes out and everyone's just like, what the hell? They didn't expect it from this person. And then you'll see after that, there'll be a redemption tour. So these guys, they've got the system, bro. They got the system rolling. They just follow the motions. And through that, they just keep the attention on them. And as they keep the attention on them, you just rake that shit in, bro.
Yeah. It's like the Kanye West formula pretty much, man.
Basically.
But I get you. Yeah, Kanye figured that one out a long time ago. So. But it's gonna be definitely in the talks for a while. So we'll see. I'm just keen to see how the rappers are gonna do it. I want to hear the lines and the songs and everything and the music videos. I want to see it all, dude. Let's drag this for as long as possible.
Yo, I don't know if you guys saw, but Chris Rock has like a comedy special he's doing like a live show for. And the tickets literally like quadrupled in price a few hours after the incident happened. So that's also just like, it just shows you like attention, bro. Like attention is money nowadays. If you're able to get attention on your name, you can monetize that ish. Because people are going to want to go to hear like his perspective, like his side of the story.
Oh, 100%.
And the jokes that he's going to make from this thing. Like
he has to,
but he's meant to keep her name out of his mouth, so we don't know, man. You know what I mean? That was pretty.
The thing is, what I love about this as well is it's kind of showing that there's there's like different segments of celebrity in the US, or just I don't know, maybe it's even global. Like, because now you have all the comedians who are just going in on Will Smith and Jada. They're like, nah,
Yeah.
they all said you got to keep you out of our name, out of our mouths. Nah, that's what we're gonna start putting in our mouths.
Exactly.
That was pretty sus.
Yeah.
Pretty sus. But anyways,
No,
moving
we'll
on
see it.
swiftly.
Hey.
Wait. Before we move on, Fred, I just want to ask you all something. Nah? Just on y'all's perspective. Nah? Do you feel like what Chris Rock done was wrong?
What he did was wrong.
Do you feel like what
Nah.
he did was wrong?
I don't think so, man. I think with comedy, anybody can catch it, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I've seen
100%.
comedians tackle like topics I would never even touch. Do you know what I mean? And offside, but because they're comedians, I think the better comedian is able to navigate it properly and like deliver it in a manner that doesn't seem offensive. But like bro, I can't even mention these words on YouTube because I'm worried that we're gonna get, you know. But there are certain topics that are like just offside that you just can't touch, especially when you're speaking about like Weinstein and Epstein and them. Because that's what Ricky Gervais did last year, I think it was. He just went off, man. He just took everybody down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think those topics I would say are more. I don't want to say anybody's hardship is more important or less important than another, but I would categorize what Gervais did in terms of topic matter, like I think more serious than a problem that I would say not a lot of people are aware of. I don't think anybody was aware of Jada's situation. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like maybe that's why I was sensitive. But I've seen people do like what's his name, man? Chappelle. He's a god at dodging laser beams. Do you know what I mean? Like he's very good at that. So I don't think it was offside. I think it was just had it not been for Will's reaction, I don't think that joke would have been taken any further than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no one would have cared.
Nobody.
But
Literally.
I also think I don't think Will's intention was problematic. I think defending your significant other and standing for what you believe is right is a good thing. But the way that you do it, he could have gone on there, did exactly what he did, minus the slap, and grabbed the mic and say, look, a lot of people are struggling with this disease, alopecia, or whatever it's called. And I don't appreciate you making my wife the butt of a joke at the expense of her health. And everyone would have been like, you know what? That's the Will Smith I know. This is the guy that is always standing up for what's right. But now what he's done is now we're all laughing at him and we all just our perception of him is completely changed. It's just you gotta be able to handle yourselves. But also celebrities deal with some other kind of pressure, just to play devil's advocate, right? Celebrities deal with some other kind of pressure that we don't really know. So the fact that he cracked, I mean, I don't think we could sit here and kind of judge that because we don't go through that kind of having paparazzi in your face 24/7, having everyone talking about you, everyone saying crap about you 24/7. So I don't know, maybe we just don't understand that. And just before we continue, we've got Alexandra Martins in the stream. Welcome, sir.
Big up, Alex.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. But yeah, he's saying that it wouldn't be the first time that Will has slapped someone on camera at some sort of prestigious event. You know what I also think, and let me put this question out before I even say my view to hear what you guys think. I feel do you guys feel like Will Smith has done this stuff before? Do you think this is a regular way that he responds to anger, you know? Or do you guys think this is just a once-off thing where he just cracked and things just happened and it is what it is?
The thing is, as much as, he's a celebrity and, as a society, we have this thing in the back of our heads where to look at celebrities as people that aren't human. But at the end of the day, Will Smith is a human. He's going to have human emotions and human reactions. That's not to say that he does react like this on a regular basis. But even if it's something that has happened off camera or in the past or whatever, I don't think it would be too hard to believe. But whether it's regular or not, that's, up to assumption.
I guess we'll never really fully know for certain, right? But I think from my perspective, it's kind of the way you respond to certain situations. I feel that kind of response is not a one-off response. Not like people that fight normally fight. That's like their response, you know? Like they don't you don't just get a normal person who doesn't fight that just starts fighting out of nowhere. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he's going through a specific like portion of his life or part of his life where things are just too much, or I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's tough.
I mean,
man.
it could be that.
It could really be that. And you must remember the relationship between Jada and Will. It's been tricky for the last... It's been tricky, man. Especially now that, like, after this reaction, Will was getting clowned for the fact that he's happy to slap Chris Rock for a joke, but he's not going to slap August or Stina for the entanglements. It's lit, dude. So you can imagine, like, this man... I'm not too sure what the dynamics are at home. I think we will never know. Also, it could have just been a media stunt. We'll never know. But yeah, he's definitely at a different stage in his life where, you know, like we genuinely cannot predict where he's at right now. I think the Will Smith that we know and love, it's no longer the case. This man has been brutally
That's so sad,
executed in public on the red table. Like we witnessed this man cry. You know what I mean? Like he's not the same. And I'm sure the relationship is not the same, man. I can tell you that for free. But hey, who are we, you know? Just these,
I agree,
South
man.
Africans.
I agree. Like, dude, that relationship is toxic, bro. Like, if you feel the need to go and perform some sort of act in order for your partner to be okay with you, or to like, I don't know, dude, just like, there's something off there, bro, because there's been other things too, like that red table thing. Like, it's just weird, dude. Like, it's just very weird.
100%, yeah. No, I think they did this to themselves a little bit. It's weirdly enough. But I think that's what happens when you're in the limelight. Everything gets scrutinized and you can't really settle things off camera. We'll see everything. Do you know what I mean?
Do you guys think like people get addicted to attention? Like they feel a need
100%.
to be like relevant.
100%, yo.
Let me tell you about Kanye West.
Oh, wow.
Even as like even with our YouTube and stuff, every time we get a like, you know, we feel better. Like, yo, it's actually getting some traction. Some people are actually watching it. Every time you get more views and everything, you feel better. So yeah, you can definitely get addicted to it.
Yeah, I think it's a very dangerous like place to be in as a creator where you focus so much on the attention. Because like in the case of Will Smith and even Kanye West, like these guys, their methods of getting attention online keep getting more and more and more like crazy as it goes along. So it's like, and I feel like at some point, I don't know, maybe this is Will Smith's breaking point. But if this was Will Smith's breaking point, I don't even want to know what Kanye West's breaking point is, bro. Because
but we've seen that multiple times, bro.
What?
Like, look at what he's doing with Pete and them. Like, dude, we see this man break down almost every month. Dude. It's a different situation. The way he was crying about Kim on his Insta, bro, like live jive, like that's how far he's willing to take it. Though. I mean, he made an entire music video where he kidnaps Pete and buries him alive. I'm not sure
cut off his head, bro.
But like, cut off his head.
Have
he's just
you
chilling with
seen
his
it?
head in it. So it's like, yeah, I watched it, man. That man is unhinged. Like, properly unhinged, man.
Who made this, bro? How did you make this and feel like this is okay to like put out there, bro?
Someone greenlit it, dude.
For real.
But that's Kanye, bro. So, like, I think we all do. We all are addicted to attention, one way or another. May it be virtual, or physical, but I think we all crave it just a little bit. So
for real,
some more than others, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I feel like I know some introverts, some people that just like I can understand Sam's perspective because Sam's always out grooving. Like he's always down for the groove. But like there's other people that don't want to groove. There's other people that like shut my door, don't let anyone in. I don't want to talk to anyone today.
No, I hear that, but even those people on a one-to-one basis, they would appreciate attention. Let's say like that. Like they don't like just any kind of attention, and the attention that's, let's say, necessarily outside of their home. But one person they would love to have just, acknowledge them.
100%.
For sure. I think that's the thing about maybe they're just too introverted to say it. So
true.
But everybody needs attention, dog.
Yeah, no, I think that's nature being human. Sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically like I'm in full agreement with Sam. As humans, we all want attention. Like we need it. we understand it. And for some, they need it in different capacities or frequencies and whatever. But the thing is, there is definitely a certain group of people, and I feel like it's more common with those that, you know, are like part of the influencer group, or those that have an online presence, where they aren't able to regulate how much attention is enough and how much attention is healthy attention. So I feel like that's where the disconnect will come in, where people will continuously push boundaries and push boundaries and push boundaries. And they may even lose sight of it, because there's definitely cases where they'll push boundaries and not even realize the amount of harm in it. Like if we look at the Logan Paul situation that happened a few years back, I'm sure like everyone here is familiar with it. Like if we look at what happened there, like he's even gone to state that he didn't even realize that he got to that point up until it happened. So like it just goes to show that it's a matter of being able to regulate yourself as well as your environment.
True that.
No, that's nice, man. I think being kind of touching onto that. Basically, I mean, we're all content creators here, and we're all kind of reliant on our social presence being noticed, our online presence being noticed. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's good for business. It's good for just general, you know, being. But how would you guys navigate that? How do you guys keep yourselves in line in terms of making sure that you don't post things or do, like, I think I'm a very prideful man, so I can't do like TikTok challenges and like, you know, like doing these things where, do you know what I mean? And that's my thing, bro. Like, it was like, no, this is how you grow on TikTok. But then it's like, I'm not about to like twerk because that's what's happening. Oh, the
TikTokers, do you have no pride?
No, not even that. Not even that. I'm just saying, like, for me, hey, yo. No, but I'm saying for me, like, I can't, bro. Like, I can't go out of my way to do something that I would deem, okay, I don't want to say it. Like, some people will make it look cool, but I think some people, it's just whack, bro. Like, I'm just like, sure, you're getting a lot of views, but I hope you understand that, like, we're watching you almost we're laughing at you, not with you situation. And like, we're laughing at your expense. I think I've noticed that with a lot of YouTubers.
People monetize that shit, bro.
Yeah. And it works.
Just be the villain.
And one way, exactly. But I've noticed that with a lot of YouTubers, it happened to PewDiePie, it happened to KSI. I believe it happened to Jake Paul as well, where they would do, I would call it condescending content, essentially. So going out of their way to make content that kind of looks down on them, but they're getting the views because no one else is willing to do this stuff. I remember like KSI would do a lot of content that would look downwards on Black people as a race. So it was the chicken jokes, it was the KFC stuff, it was all that noise. And it got millions and millions of views. But then I think he also woke up one day and he's like, you know what? This is not me. Like, I've just been putting on a show just to get you guys in. Now I'm going to like redirect my entire attention to doing something that's more productive and more focused. And PewDiePie did the same thing. And so I think everybody kind of plateaus at some point and just decides that like, I'm going to do some serious stuff and not this noise that I've been doing before. But how do you guys like keep yourselves in line from doing what you need to do to get views as opposed to staying true to yourself and at the cost that you're not going to grow your channel as much as you could possibly? Do you know what I mean?
Could I ask a question? I'm sorry, Sam. This is a little bit awkward question, but do you guys think KSI monetized racism?
Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
That's such a reverse card, bro.
Yeah, no. 100%.
It's like, bring your racism here. Let me make some ranks, bro. Like, sorry, I just.
But he was definitely playing the. I can't say the word on stream, but he was doing the whole. Just playing to the white man's cause essentially. So being like they a jester, and then everybody has a token Black person in high school. Everybody knows that person that would just actively work to impressing his peers. And I think KSI was just that for the global space. All the white kids love KSI. I'll tell you that for free. So
I like KSI. I don't know. I don't know.
Queen proven, bruh.
That's one for Sam.
Yeah. You're ruining my brand out here, bro.
I'm joking. I love him too. I won't lie, dude. That man was brave, bro. So you know.
He's but like KSI is such a wholesome gent, bro. Like that's why I like his content so
now
much.
He is.
Yeah.
No, but like even back then, like just the way he laughs at shit, bro. It's just like Also, like the way that he like fought and stepped in a boxing ring. I don't know if it's just me and who I am, being this motivational speaker, inspirational guy, but like that shit inspired me. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, no, there were parts that made me feel a bit uncomfortable though. I was just like, this is a bit weird. And also, like, he used to do that one piece of content where he'd go onto, was it like a weekly or something, or that one question go, and then there was just like gang racism. I think that's kind of where like maybe that thing changed in his mind, where he was like, nah, fuck this shit. Like this is actually, because at some points it's like it's just pure hatred, bro. It's like it's not worth it, man. It's not worth giving those people a voice, dude.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, in terms of like Sam, getting back to your question, just in terms of like being able to just remind me what it was exactly. It's being able to
essentially not being a cloud chaser, man. So how do you avoid chasing clouds, even though you know that it's essentially good for, let's say, reach. I won't even say for your brand, but for reach purposes, as opposed to staying true to yourself and knowing your worth.
I feel like cloud chasing, like, you could view it in two different lights, right? You could do it in the point where people are doing it for attention and for money and that kind of thing. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, what it comes down to is your purpose, right? Why are you doing it? Like what kind of outcome are you looking for? Because
I think someone's
mic is feedback. Yeah, but it sounds a bit better now. Yeah. So yeah, I think in terms of cloud chasing, it depends on your purpose. So if you're doing it for attention, if you're doing it for money, if you're doing it at the expense of others, then I don't mess with that. But then on the converse side of it, right, you can also use that kind of stuff as a tool. So like clickbait, for example, like you need to be able to clickbait to some certain extent in order to be able to gain people's attention, because there's just so much YouTube thumbnails and YouTube videos we put out there. How do you grab people's attention? You have to use these tools to be able to progress your message and to like achieve your purpose. But I think what ultimately matters is like why you're doing it. What is your purpose and your reasoning behind things? That's my perspective, at least.
I think it also like depends on what content you actually make, like your niche. Because like the thing that stops me from like hopping on trends and stuff is that it just doesn't make sense for me to do it. You know, like for the political stuff, I was cloud chasing with the Kanye video, obviously, just to try and get some views. All right. But the reason that
But was it cloud chasing though? Were you cloud chasing? Did you put that out for clouds?
I put it out to like address the situation because I saw it as being in line with what that channel does, you know, the political commentary and being South African and then Trevor Noah being involved and things like that. But I obviously thought that it would get some views because of the hype with the Kanye situation. But like the thing that stops me from hopping on most trends is that it just doesn't make sense for me to do so. Like most of us creators, like we said, we wouldn't do a TikTok trend because you get that one video that gets 1 million views and then you lose all of those people afterwards because you're not making more content like that. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like I've seen people that are hopping on these trends. Like all they do is put out trends, and they've like grown a substantial amount over the last year just because of sustainably putting out like these trends and these things that people like watching. People like watching these trends. I don't know why. Maybe we don't like watching it. Maybe we're a bit salty because we can see like how much effort we put in our work, and then like we compare that to how much effort goes into some of these trends, right? And maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know, but I've seen people grow from following trends, bro. Like what's really cool though is from the example that I'm giving now, like I always talk about Uzzy Boy, right? She's the people's dietitian. Go check her out on Instagram if you want to go see what I'm talking about. But she's someone who's done this really well. Like she was sitting on like 3,000 followers, maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And now she's gotten up to the point where she's on 10K. And that's solely through her putting out these like reels talking about these different trends. But what I love about what she does is she'll take a trend, like whatever trend it may be, and she'll like switch it up in a way where it starts like actually offering value and like educating people on like dietetics and food and nutrition. So she takes those trends and basically transforms them into like content that offers value. So I think maybe that's where the difference lies, right? I mean, there's a difference between teaching people about why they should not be eating a certain thing and how much cholesterol it has, and then someone like who's just staring at their screen and blinking when the blue light reaches the Wi-Fi signal or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I get you. That was she does that really well. I won't lie. She makes her content very digestible. So if one is able to move in that,
I see what you did there.
Oh shit! Hey, that was on purpose. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, one sees that, and I think another one was that. So looking at it from the perspective of a social media manager, I definitely fell into this trap when working with brands, right? So when you have to come up with content for brands. There is also just these mechanics and these formulas that one could use to try and help a brand new brand grow up. And I don't know if you guys view it the same, but I saw over some time that your Monday motivations, you know what I mean? That was kind of like cloud chasing, because you know that everybody messes with a Monday motivation. So so you'd see that like every Monday, 8 brands post something motivational, do you know what I mean? Or Friday facts, or and I'd be like, so, and I've noticed that that's also the situation. So I know, Rocky, you mentioned that you're a social media manager, but how do you, or even you, Josh, how do you guys go about like making sure that the content isn't generic, isn't also just based on pure reach? Like, Monday motivation is going to get a lot of hits. Friday Facts is going to get a lot of hits. Like, how do you guys also stay away from cloud chasing in that regard, let alone from just your personals, but from helping other brands as well?
Okay. So do you
I don't think that counts as cloud chasing,
like,
though.
Like it's a standard to like.
I think it
post
depends on your
Monday,
purpose, bro.
that everyone
Yeah.
follows, as opposed to like a trend, because like the trend would like stay for like a bit and then it'll go away. This stuff is like still going strong for most creators and things like that.
Yes. Okay.
Look, I think for me, I always talk about this concept of offering value, right? And I think as long as you're offering something of value to people, then your content or whatever you're putting out there is going to actually achieve whatever purpose you're looking to achieve. But you need to be like thinking about what is this doing for someone, right? So I think with brands, it becomes a lot more difficult, because I think when you have a social media profile that is like a logo, for example, like it's very difficult to relate to that as a human being. It's much easier to relate to another person than what it is to relate to like another KFC brand, or like I don't know, whatever brand, right? So I think when it comes to brand content, you're already on a back foot in that sense, where people know that you're putting this out because you want to sell your chicken, or you want to sell your soap, or whatever it may be, right? So you're already on a back footing. So now you need to be able to like kind of get around that back footing by offering value to what you're doing. So for me, if a brand is putting out a Monday motivational thing and I'm someone on a Monday who's looking for some motivation, I'm probably going to follow that account because that brand is able to offer me value through their Monday motivations. Look, it's much more intricate than that, because I think the way that you present it is also important. But I think when it comes to brand content, you can tell which brand managers out there are doing it to sell the product and which brand managers out there understand that they actually need to offer value to people. Because a lot of brands, they just put out like buy our stuff or like brand stuff, like, and that doesn't offer value to anyone. But that brand isn't going to achieve any sort of success because they're not offering value through their content. So I don't know. That's my take,
Nah, 100%. Like it comes down basically to, are you putting yourself in your content? I mean, this also applies to brands, because each brand is meant to have a voice. Each brand is meant to have a personality and whatever. And that needs to, at the end, they show in that content. So like, just to touch again on the people that just hop on trends and stuff like that. Like I've mentioned before, that I do not believe TikTokers in particular have a lot of longevity in terms of their personal brands, unless they do something to supplement their TikTok. Like, I don't know, like they hop on YouTube or Twitch or anything else. But if you're just on TikTok and you're hopping on trends, No one cares about you. They'll see your video once, they'll be just part of the million that view it, and they'll never care about you again. But the ones that hop on trends and they're able to build a community from there because they show their personality and they build a brand from it, that's where I feel the line is drawn between hopping on a trend and cloud chasing, between actually using that trend for your benefit, but not for malicious purposes such as cloud chasing, if that makes sense.
Yo, we got a question here from Alexander, or not a question, but more of a statement. I think it's about finding a balance, finding those trends and making them on your own, and making them your own, to stay true to yourself and your content. Yeah, I think that's what I think is how people achieve success through trends, is by not just like following the trend, but translating it into something that's your own, right? And I think that's kind of what Alexandro is mentioning now. It's like taking that trend and adding onto it in your own unique way, right? And I think if you're able to do that, and I would say this is probably something that Nando's does really well, right? Because like we know with this whole Will Smith thing, everyone's putting out that slap picture and making a meme out of it, right? But I know if Nando's is going to drop something on that Will Smith thing, it's going to be different to everyone else's. There's going to be some other kind of spice behind that one. So I think it's just about taking the trend and making it your own. And I think that also kind of ties into what I was saying about Uzzy and why I liked her content and why I think she's done so well. She's done that really well. So I don't know, Sam, do you feel like we've answered your question, bro?
Yeah, for sure. I think, it was well said, especially with the whole establishing between a trend and I would say a standard routine in terms of social media. So I get that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, value. People don't understand the value aspect here. A lot of people put out content for the sake of putting out content, and it's like you're actually wasting your time. Like I'd rather you not put anything out, because now you're just adding to the heap of crap that's online. You know? So rather focus your effort somewhere else. But hey, I don't know, bro. When it comes to the content space, talking about like this stuff on purpose and all that stuff, like everyone here is working on their own thing. I know Tahir, he mentioned a little bit about your YouTube channel, like, and we also, like, you mentioned how you put the video out, but you kind of felt like, I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, but it seemed as though you knew that it was going to do well, but it wasn't for cloud chasing, but it kind of was for cloud chasing. Like, what is the purpose behind? Like, go ahead.
Being on YouTube for so long, and you see that, this video is going to be the one that does well. You always have that feeling, and then you just see it doesn't do well. So it's just like, it's become this routine feeling with me, that this video that I've made is going to be the one that blows up. So I think that's why I felt that way with the Kanye one. But also because it was such a hot topic in that moment, I felt like, okay, maybe it really will do well this time. And so that's why I wanted to like give a take on it. Like, as soon as I saw the story, I think it was the day after, I just set up everything and I filmed it, and then I uploaded it on that day, because I knew that it had to be timed properly so that the trend is still there. But I didn't like just do it for the sake of like, I wanted to give an opinion on it as well.
Being someone who watches your channel and sees your content, like I can tell. That's why when you said, like, when you mentioned cloud chasing and all that kind of stuff, that's why I was like, nah, but you didn't do it for that. There's another reason, because you can just tell through your content that there's like a reason why you make this stuff, right? And that's kind of what I want to ask you, bro. Is like, why, like, what needs to go through a matric pupil's mind in 2022 to feel the need to create a political show? Like, what is the purpose behind creating such a show at such a young age?
I've always been interested in politics and current affairs, like always. And I always feel like everyone's opinion should be valid in some way. And so I use the channel to like create this platform for me to like express my opinion and things. And to just
damn, he was doing so well. All right, well, Sam, why do you have a Twitch channel?
Because I like things, though.
That's why.
But yeah, no, but I think your chat is correct, and I think that's why I've had the most difficult journey on YouTube. I enjoyed it growing up, and I enjoyed starting off making your highlight streams and your challenge videos. I was playing FIFA with my brothers, and it was always a fun time. But there comes a point where you're just like, what value am I adding to the world? What am I actually doing? And especially because of that dance, I always have this dance where, especially now that I studied marketing, digital marketing, that is, I always question my behavior. And this way it informs how I can persuade other people's behaviors, because I think that's what marketing is all about, really. You're just persuading other people's behaviors. So I was in a loop where it's like, I don't watch gaming content, but here I am creating gaming content on a consistent basis. Do you know what I mean? So who am I really marketing to? Because I don't really enjoy watching people game the same thing over and over. But here I am making that content. So I think with the value chat, it's tough. Like it's mad tough to try and figure that out, because a lot of people create content that they don't even consume themselves. And then I'm just like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Dude, like, what about PewDiePie?
I mean, yeah.
What is he thinking when he started? Like,
yeah. I think you're right. There are exceptions to the rule, for sure. But
I don't even think that's an exception, hey? I mean, he literally started the whole, well, maybe it wasn't him. I don't know if we can attribute it to him, but like, he was a huge influential part of like starting that whole gaming trend, right? And I think maybe that's the secret sauce, right? Is like that he didn't have to watch anyone else's stuff. He wasn't influenced by influencers. He was kind of just doing his own thing. Maybe that's like the key, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, but like having said that, I also do think you can draw inspiration from people, but I think you need to be creating content for another. Like, you have to have a purpose behind it. You know, there has to be some,
for sure,
because you're not going to be consistent. Like, you're not going to put your heart into it if you're not creating it to change the world or some shit. You know,
yeah.
I don't know.
100%. No.
Yeah,
you're right.
So
bro.
yeah, do you want to continue telling us how you're changing the world through your? Oh no.
Oh man, every time he gets into it. No.
Man was busy speaking from chest.
Hey, bruh.
Shane, tell us about your podcast.
So, okay.
Wow.
Shame. Okay, so basically, so like when I started creating content, like it wasn't done with the intention of changing the world, really. Like, if it impacts someone, I am very grateful for that opportunity. But the only person I'm looking to impact is me, really. So I have a podcast channel, I have a gaming channel, I have a YouTube channel. I consume podcasts, so I decided to do that. And the main type of content I consume for the past couple of years is gaming content, which is why I have a gaming channel. And the reason I started with that is because, firstly, I love games, and I'm sure both of y'all watched The Sidemen. So they start off just a group of friends playing games together. I watched it and I was like, that is so cool. They sound like they're having the time of life playing games with their friends, and that's something I wanted to experience also, which is something I've been doing. Like, shout out to Alex in the chat, because that's what I do with him. So like, being able to not like, because I've consumed their content and now I am putting out their content I consume, I've in a way fulfilled something that I've always looked at and admired, and I now see within myself. So it's more of an internal motivation rather than an external of like, I want to change this person, like that person. So it's Like it's more towards that. Like obviously, like there's a whole thing of like, you know, I want to be able to put something out there that I created and people enjoy and all that. And you know, like there is definitely the passion that goes into it. And I am very grateful when people reach out to me and say, listen, like I watched that episode of the podcast and like I really enjoyed it and I can't wait for the next one. That like that makes me feel no other way. Like I get hyped as hell. But yeah, like a lot of my motivation comes more internally.
Yeah, look, dude, at the end of the day, like I was saying, there's a common thread, right? I mentioned for me, like, I want to change the world, man. Like, I want to leave a legacy. Like, and in order to be able to leave a legacy, you have to impact people because your legacy doesn't live within you. It lives within the people that you were able to touch throughout your time on this earth, right? This is me getting into my Monday motivational speech, yo. But yeah, like that's my purpose, right? And not to say that that's the only purpose. I mean, what Shane mentioned now is a completely valid purpose as well. It's like that's, I guess maybe mine's a little bit more externalized, yours a little bit more internalized. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes to content, like there's so much value you can extract from it, right? And it's because it's like its existence in the digital space, in the digital realm. That's what content is. It's existence in that space, right? If you're not going to create videos, if you're not going to create pictures, if you're not going to record audio, whatever it may be, like you don't really exist in that online space. And the more that we progress as a human race, the more we become like integrated into this online space. So I don't know, man, like this whole thing with content, I think it's like, it's going to change the trajectory of the human race, like quite drastically, like way more than it has now. I mean, even VR and all that stuff's coming, guys. We'll get into that discussion at some point. But Mr. Tahir, do you want to go for round 3, my guy?
Every time I start talking and then it just cuts.
Bro, something out there doesn't want your message to be broadcast to the world, man.
I'm telling you. No, but I was saying, we like passed the thing already. I mean,
we want to hear why you do your YouTube channel, bro.
Yeah, bro. You can't skip you. Imagine, like, bro, there's hype built up around us now.
My
We've
guy,
been waiting.
I need to put you in the thumbnail so we can get clicks, my G.
I was saying, like Sam said, right? You want to create content that you yourself consume, right? So I noticed that I was watching Daily Show, and there was this one show on Netflix. I don't know if you guys watched it, called The Patriot Act. So basically, it was a political commentary show, but he did it so differently, right? He had these big screens around him, and he had an emphasis on visuals. So that was what inspired me. I got my green screen here, just painted the wall. And I was like, you know what? I want to add some visuals to it. I want to give an opinion on things and try and break it down to the best of my ability. And just like remind people that there's always more than one side to a story. You know, like where articles are sometimes biased based on their political views and things. It's always important to remember that you need to like get information from all different sides. So when I make the video, and that's why I made the channel, is to like try and explain different topics from all sides and then allow the viewer to make a conclusion. And also because there was nothing like that for a South African audience. So that's why.
Bro, there was, wasn't it that Loyiso Gola? I can't remember what that show was called. It was like a comedy.
Yo, that's a throwback.
Do you remember that, bro? Do you remember that? There was something
that
like
was
that.
Fire.
Yeah.
That was fire.
Yo, Shane, you're showing your age, my friend.
You older.
Sam, what year were you born, my G?
97, bro.
97, what?
Yeah.
Damn. Wait, what month? What month?
July.
Fuck. So I really am the oldest.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest here. Sam's way bigger than me, so he counts as older just because of his height, bro. Like, if people were to compare us, they'd say you older, dude. No. I'm gonna hide behind that fact, you know. Yo, dude. But that show, I can't even remember what it was called, bro. But they did do something similar to that. But I also feel like when it comes to like SABC and ETV, like, hey, bro.
Was this Late Nights with Loiso? Late Night
Yeah, I
what
swear
are
it
you
was
talking
called that.
Yo.
Yeah. Late
And
Night
they still
News
had
with
Chester
Loiso.
missing on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that show was fire, bruh.
That was fire.
Yeah. I know y'all. What were you guys watching after that show, Late Night with Loiso Gola?
Ah, please. There you go.
How do you know about such Joshua?
SMS.
How do you know about such things? You see that?
What things, bro?
Please.
What are you guys talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what are y'all talking about?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm 2000s don't know about
It was
those
before
days,
your
bruh.
time. It was before your time.
That was content creation at its peak, bro, at its finest, in the good old days, bro. Nah,
Bro,
late
damn
night
bad,
ETV.
let me tell you.
Yo, guys, how is that a
Damn
thing?
bad,
Yo?
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, like, how is that a thing? On public television.
Nah, but it was an era, bro. It was an era, bro. Like,
What is it?
let's not lie. Like we were a rare breed. Like 5 p.m. Dragon Ball Z, and then you just have to like stick it out till like midnight and you'd be sorted. Like that was the combo.
Tonight on E. Friday Action Night.
Dude, just after what was it, Texas Ranger, then you're like, oh wait.
Yo, there's the first time I ever heard someone describe it as a combo.
The late night combo, bro.
I was sorted in my childhood, bro.
Yo.
Alright, so
Down
it started
bad.
what? Dragon Ball Z, Winx Club.
Yeah.
Snakes on a Plane.
Hey, bro.
Yo.
The whole situation.
Yo, sorry to hear, man. Sorry, man. Y'all haven't lived, bro.
Hey, sooner or later. But yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, that's content back then, bro. But I also feel like when it comes to like SABC, ETV, all that kind of stuff, I don't know if that's like the future of content in South Africa, hey? Like,
I don't know, dude.
because look, I do feel like they do have an opportunity though, because if you look at a lot of the content that's put online, a lot of it's low budget. And when you look at like the stuff that's on SABC and ETV, a lot of the South African stuff that's made for TV is also quite low budget. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a matter of like adjusting their formats or something. But I don't know what, like in terms of content, guys, SABC.
Right, so I don't think we are in the demographic that I don't think they care about us. And so, like,
What
obviously
is the
we gravitate.
demographic? What is the demographic?
Dude, I think it's obviously the lower income areas, 100%, because I mean you're looking at people that just have a satellite at home, no internet connection. I would assume like you have to cater for those people
that
as well.
don't
And
have a
it is
choice.
the majority. Yeah, but it is the majority, man. I mean, you're still hitting like a very large market, and I think that's why it's still so profitable to be in the television business. But now it's gonna start like for us, the people that consume, and I think that have a little bit more buying power in terms of just actively being able to support in that industry. I think people do have to look at now going outside of that. I think that's why we're seeing more shows happening on Netflix. We're seeing more content being integrated into like Showmax, even though that's still under DSTV, but we'll get there eventually. But now you've got Disney Plus is coming in June, I think it is.
Yo, that's
May.
big.
It's big. It's gonna start shaking. And once what you call it, HBO Max also comes through. Like now things are gonna start shaking properly for people. So I think they slowly but surely they need to start realizing that we're slowly relying less on them. There's one whole segment that's relying less and less on them, and the other is gonna obviously rely on them, provided that everybody stays where they are right now financially, economically.
I think DSTV is screwed, bro. The only thing that's keeping DSTV alive is sports. That's the last thread.
For sure.
Dude.
Yeah.
Once that thread goes, bro, people are not going to be paying those subscriptions. But also, I think what was really nice about Netflix is like, it's what, $200 a month? It's very cheap and affordable, you know? But now I think what's going to happen with all these different players entering the game, previously on Netflix, you could get like almost anything on Netflix, bro. That was the place for online, you know? But now when it comes to HBO, when it comes to Disney Plus, Hulu, Apple TV, all of these different players are entering this space. What's going to land up is like, instead of all the content being centralized, you're going to have these people playing in these different fields, right? Where content is going to be created specifically for Hulu, or content like Disney. Disney's taken all of their stuff off other platforms and put them on Disney Plus. So now if you want to get access to all of this content, you're going to probably have to pay, I don't know, probably the same amount as a DSTV subscription, or maybe even more, if you want to get access to everything. I don't know, like with that, I feel like it kind of takes away one of the perks that came along with like streaming, right? Is that it was more affordable. But now obviously capitalism is going to come and do its thing. And now we're going to go back, maybe we'll go back to where we were before, but instead of it being different TV channels, it's different streaming services.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. But I will always say that the content is definitely it's worth it. And you're also it's very easy for you to opt out without you losing out on everything. Do you know what I mean? If you opt out on DSTV, you lose all the channels. Whereas with now we'll have a little bit of a control. Is that okay? I think Netflix is not giving me that much value, so let me stick to HBO Max and Disney Plus. Or you can balance it how you want. But with DSTV, it's like it's one ticket to everything, and you don't necessarily need everything. So we'll see how that pans out.
Is it one ticket to everything, bro? Like, when last does anyone here have DSTV?
That's the thing. Nothing, dude.
No one has DSTV here.
Nothing. I do the thing of borrowing people's passwords, but now that they're making it tough, because I don't know if you guys saw that whole thing that they were announcing that they're gonna make it one user per that can log in at the time.
Wait, is Netflix doing that?
So DSTV did the same thing.
Is
No, DSTV is doing that.
Netflix wants
I don't know about Netflix. Netflix wants to.
Netflix household. I don't know how you're gonna check household wise, like verify that you were in a different place. Yeah. Probably IP and stuff.
It's gonna be weird, dude.
I'm gonna be screwed, bro. I'm gonna have to pay for Netflix now. Shit.
Hey, dog, it's time, bro.
Dude,
You've been eating.
Nah, that's garbage, bro. I feel like I'd rather buy Hulu or something.
Oh no. What is on Hulu anyway?
Okay, wait. Not Hulu, Amazon. I don't know if you guys have watched some shows on Amazon. There was this one show, The Boys. Have you guys watched The Boys?
Yes.
Not yet, but it's been recommended to me so often.
It's really good, dude.
Bro, you have to watch it.
It's on the list.
Yeah,
it's very good.
It's like it's really good, bro. The way they just completely switch up superheroes, bro.
I like
I don't
that.
want to talk too much about
The Boys.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The Boys and what's it called? The animated one, Invincible.
I've heard about that one too.
That's also on the list.
Woo! Invincible.
Disgusting.
What?
Yeah. It's literally The Boys, but like on level 10. Dude. Literally.
How is it on level 10, bro?
Bro.
The Boys is really crazy. Just the way The Boys starts. Sorry to
the way watch Invincible how that starts, and then you'll do.
No, the starting scene is still like embedded in my mind. I can't forget that. Yo.
Which one? The Boys or Invincible?
The Boys.
Okay.
You know where he's
guys, please watch them. I don't remember. I'd have to start again. But watch Invincible and tell me about the first episode, and then we'll talk.
The thing is, like, and what they've done, I think the reason why these shows are so good is because that first episode, bro, it leaves you with your jaw like, what just happened, bro? So you want to watch more. Like, if you're going to start a series off with just a standard, like, intro, I feel like, because, like, have you guys realized there's actually so many series out there that, like, no one knows about, and then a few years later, someone finds it and then tells a friend, and then, like, it just, like, blows up all of a sudden. Because people just didn't really, like, I don't know, mess around with it before. I think a part of the reason why that happens is because, like, some series, you have to actually get into it before it actually starts getting good. And if there's not a lot of people that are willing to sit through, like, the first 3 episodes, then it's gonna be a bit of a tough one for that one to reach people, because it takes a lot more commitment, you know? it was like that for me with Game of
Sure.
Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, the first season, even, bro. Like, the first season is just tough to get through. But then when you get through it, it's such a dope series. Like, it's such an insane series until you get to the finale. I'm still touched about that.
Yeah.
Which I still haven't watched till this day.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
I'm
Don't
very,
watch it.
I'm very
Just
worried
stay-
to
Like-
recommend it.
The thing is, because I've watched all like the episodes, but I skip the finale, bro. I don't want to ruin it. Like, I have such a good
don't.
image of Game of Thrones in my head. I don't want to ruin that, bro.
Yo,
Literally, just stick to what you know, bro.
Yo, Prinda, yeah, don't put yourself through the pain of like freaking going through that Game of Thrones shit, dude. Like, it's just the way it ends is just, it's just like, why did I spend so much time on this, dude? But anyways, we got a comment here from Prinda Governor. Y'all all look intelligent enough to come up with another service, and I like that. I like that. Speak that into existence. Shout out to Prinda.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is gonna be the
From the
birth
bag
of-
you
easy,
invest,
man.
then we'll make it happen. Let them
But
drop
I-
a bag.
I definitely think there's a market for that, bro. And I think someone just needs to like wake up and hit that up, because I think what we've seen now, especially, obviously it's happened in the States, but I think it's happening a bit more. I think the relationship between brands and using content creators as ad agencies essentially is a bit tighter than what it is overseas. So I think brands are now realizing that I don't need to hire an entire marketing team and an entire production company to create really dope content. I just need to find a really good content creator. And so I've noticed that content creators have literally become ad agencies. They have to come up with the creative, they have to come up with the scripting, they have the resources, so the technology, the cameras, the mics, the lights, the studios. Some content creators have studios in their houses, man, and they are able to shoot really good ads content on behalf of that studio for a fraction of the cost. You know what I mean? And so I think like the barrier to entry when it comes to production is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if just somebody wakes up one day and is like, hey, let's just create our own platform where we create content that we want to see, it wouldn't be that hard. I mean, one wouldn't have to put too many brains in one room to make that happen. Like,
So
to have a service where you just kind of have content beamed up to that service, and it's just content that we'd like to see with people that we care about. I think that would be major, bro.
I mean,
how
the
would that
Sidemen done that.
differ? Yeah.
Exactly.
So how would that differ from
How
like
would that differ,
YouTube?
sorry?
Like something like YouTube or Instagram or
No, obviously. So it would differ in terms of what you want to do is trying to. I think the main goal is to just kind of keep the economy flowing and having a grip tight on the economy, so the money coming in remains in that economy. Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing about us. Like, I think that's the thing about. I've always tried to figure out why South African content sucks so badly in terms of television, right? So I've never understood it. Like, why is it that in every country outside of South Africa, even Nollywood, they have such a rich storytelling history, and Nollywood will tell any and every story because the power is in the hands of like the people, and they can just tell whatever stories they want. Whereas with us, it's like we pretty much get dictated what type of stories we're going to hear. Mzansi Magic is the same. Everything is pretty much the same outline and the same storytelling. So nothing ever differs. Do you know what I mean? But why is it in America we have Atlanta? In Germany, you have dark. You have like morbid content that is gripping and that like euphoria is happening. But in South Africa, it's always these feel good, rags to riches stories, and one never really understands where it's coming from. So I've always looked at that, and I think that partly the answer is that the money, there is no economy, so there is no money coming in terms of, let's say, like people being able to use the money that we use to provide more content and more diverse content. There's no actual grip on that situation. That's my assumption. I think that's why the CakeNet situation is moving way, way quicker than anybody else in South Africa. It's because that money is really tight gripped in the Afrikaans community. So they attend the film festivals, they come through, and it's just redistributed all the time. And that's why you get to see other people experiment a lot more when it comes to the content that they want to shoot. So I think that's where it would differ. You just have like a tight-knit seal around who comes in and what happens with the finances that are accrued over this period of time. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
Pretty much what AKA did with AKA TV. It's like he's just trying to control the thing that anything that goes into my content will be redistributed for my content purely because he wants to make better and bigger content, which makes a lot of sense. You know? And with that budget, he's allowed to hire other people to feature on AKA TV, etc., etc. So, you know, like it's just a redistribution thing that I think that would, if done properly, I think that's what would make it good. Because right now it's a cash grab for everybody. Instagram, you get a campaign, you use that money for yourself. You don't go to the next person and say, who would like to be a content creator and doesn't have the means? I can help you. You don't see that a lot. You know what I mean?
Reinvesting into the art. Yeah,
exactly.
You don't realize like how much money gets invested into the arts overseas, hey? And not even just the arts, like just progression and innovation in general. Like, so one of the clients that we were working with last year is called Digital Catapult. It's based in the UK, right? And essentially this company, they work with the government and the government gives them a bunch of funding and they distribute that funding to different projects that are focused on research and innovation. So the client that I was working with was working with them on a project in the virtual production space. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with virtual production, The Mandalorian.
Yes. Yeah.
So to anyone who's watching this who might not know what virtual production is, basically it's very similar to shooting on a green screen where you can change the background of your scene to any set that you want. But the difference is that it's a lot more realistic because you use motion tracking to track the movements of the camera. So your scene behind you becomes more dynamic compared to just like a picture on the backdrop. So that's like the main differentiating factor. It doesn't sound like a big thing, but when you actually look at the difference, it's pretty crazy how big the difference is. But essentially the company that they're working with, Target 3D, they sell a lot of this motion tracking gear, and they literally got funding from the government to build an entire studio. And I'm talking money, bro. Like they sent me the plan, the budgets and the proposal. And I was just looking through it just to like get an idea of how to write up these kind of proposals. And I was shook at how much money gets put into the stuff. And it's just for research, bro. Like that's the purpose behind it. So I think with us, we don't really have as many opportunities in that sense, but I do think that we do have opportunity. And for me, the opportunity that we have is to take advantage of globalization, right? So I think the reason why we here in South Africa can watch a series that, I mean, you mentioned a German series. I think you said it was called Dark or In the Dark or something like that.
Dark. Yeah.
That's a German show, right? And then even in the US, right? We can consume that content because like culturally we understand it. We can relate to it. Whereas like the average South African probably doesn't really like care for that kind of stuff. So they're probably not going to want to watch like a German show. And I think the reason behind that is just 100%. Because of like a cultural difference, right? But with globalization, our cultures are becoming a lot more like merged and a lot similar because we're able to connect with each other through social media and through the internet and be able to build relationships with people overseas in a different way than what we were able to do before. And that's provided an opportunity. And you see it happening now, like with Uncle Waffles. I don't know if you guys know Uncle Waffles. So in the music space, I mean, Uncle Waffles was performing here, I think it was in Joburg, and they recorded a video that went viral. You all know Uncle Waffles?
Yeah.
So, okay, so to hear and anyone else watching might not know who Uncle Waffles is. She's a DJ. She was performing at an event here in Joburg. It got hella lit. Someone took out their phone, recorded it. Everyone was dancing, having a vibe. So much so to the point where it started going viral on Twitter. People in the UK were sharing it. Drake followed her on Instagram because he saw it. It got to the point, and just side notes, the way that Drake following someone on Instagram can create someone's career is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Coming back to the story though, so like she built up a fan base in the UK to the point where these guys, I don't know if you guys know Creative Corner. They're like a music management company. Shout out to Zeus and Kai if y'all ever see this. But essentially what they did was they managed to do a tour overseas in the UK. So now they're getting that in pounds and P's and bringing that back home here to South Africa. And that's an example of what I'm talking about. So they've done it in the music space and they've managed to crack the code. And it just them doing that has proven something, right? And it's proven that there's an appetite for the content and for the music and for the arts and the culture that is created here in not just South Africa, but I believe in Africa, because you can look at other examples like Davido, for example, right? There's a global appetite for that kind of music and that kind of culture. And that provides an opportunity for us to be able to provide that overseas, created in a way where it actually, if you can combine that with actual like impact and value, I honestly believe that we'll be able to build this kind of platform that you're talking about, Sam, and have it centered around like what the US and what Germany and Europe and all these other places can't offer. They can't offer what we have here. There'll never be a Trevor Noah that comes from the US. Like, it just won't happen. So I think that's ultimately where our opportunity lies, and that's where the money lies too. Those people, they're going to be spending money on that, bring that back to our economy, and invest it in the arts. I feel, because I don't feel like we can trust government, bro. Government's leaving us out of the cold, bro. So we need to figure out our own ways to do it. I believe that's the way, man. And maybe that ties into idea. Maybe this is the start of this African Netflix, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you look at it, Netflix has actually invested a lot in African content, especially over like the past 2 years. Like, we're getting essay originals that I didn't even know existed. Like that one, Silverton Beach. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it. It came out like a week ago. I was shocked. I didn't even know like things like this are in production. These are fully fledged Netflix films, you know? And they're investing in this. So I think like we are getting our opportunities, but it's difficult to get into the industry.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like just putting their hand up. You know, it's like you have to put in work, because they're only giving like filmmakers that are now, and all of the old South African filmmakers that they're getting a global stage now. So when our turn comes, I don't know.
Yeah. Look, I think what's also important to note about something like Netflix, right, is you mentioned it now. It's an investment. Like, an investment needs to have returns. And where are those returns going? Those returns are going to Netflix. That goes outside of our country.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good in the short term sense, where they're going to drop 10 million rand or however much budget it takes for a movie, right? And this is me talking from my economics brain to y'all who didn't know I studied economics. But when it comes to these kind of things, right, that investment is great for the short term, because that money that's getting spent here, it's going to South African studios, it's going to South African directors, it's going to South African groups, it's going to South African actors. All that money is going to those people. Where do those go? Where does that money go? It goes to them. They go and spend it at the shops. They go buy a new car here in South Africa. They go buy whatever, a new house, whatever. So that money stays in here, right? But then you need to look at the other side of it, and the other aspect of it, right? Where that film is going to generate, I guess in the film space, it's difficult to predict, right? A lot of films, they don't make the money back. A lot of films make 10 times, 100 times what was spent on it, right? But whatever profit gets made on that, that's going outside of the country. That's going to Netflix pockets, and that's going to people who are employed by Netflix, and will boost those economies, because those people are going to spend it in their economy. So in the long-term side of it, and that's also the thing about content, and this is why Netflix is investing so much money into creating films and creating this content, is because with this investment, if you create a film, right? Let's look at an example, Lion King, right? We all grew up watching Lion King, right? There's so much value in creating a film, because that film lives forever. That film lives forever. If you're going to shoot Lion King and it's only going to be available on Netflix, every time someone wants to watch Lion King from the day that it's released to the end of the world, it's going to be on Netflix. You're going to have to give Netflix money to watch that. So the reason why they put, like, if you look at Netflix financials, they don't make a profit off of what they're doing. All of the money that they make gets invested into films, and they're not profitable. And I believe the reason why they're doing that is because of the long-term investment. Once that content's created, it will never die. And people, if you're able to create a Lion King, if you're able to create a Star Wars, if you're able to create a Lord of the Rings, the amount of long-term value in that is insane, because then when you make the spin-off, it's going to get views, people are going to buy it. So that's
Correct.
why they're able to offer so
Correct,
much
yeah.
money in the short term, but don't forget the long-term game. And this is what Sam was saying too. Like people make a bag, but they want to spend it in the short term, and it's the short term. Guys, we need to really
Yeah.
be thinking about our long-term game. And this is also why we've been screwed as a country, is because everyone in our country is just thinking about making a bag tomorrow. But we need to start thinking about the years after us, like the long-term sustainability of what we're doing and why we're doing it. But yeah, gents, look,
100%, yeah.
it's been a dope conversation. I feel like we touched on so much. Like
Hundreds.
we went from
Yeah,
ETV, Emmanuel to to changing the world through content.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming through.
But a necessary chat, yeah.
100%, yeah.
Easy,
And I'm so
Always,
keen to like hear more about the chats that we get into and just the discussion that we get into. I think this space and this channel that we've started, this podcast, is going to be very important with everything that we've just discussed now, like in the last parts of this conversation, in terms of like being able to pay it forward to other creators, being able to network with other people, bring them on the show, and also just comment on like what's going on in the space, bro. Like it's super important for us to create content like this that highlights what's going on in the space, because ultimately what we do when we're talking about a South African film, when we're talking about a South African YouTuber, when we're talking about a South African artist, we're curating the content in South Africa. And if we build a reputation for curating that content, people are going to come to us to kind of get an idea of what's popping and what's not, and what's being spoken about. And that is what Sam was talking about earlier in terms of providing access, providing attention, right? That's literally what it is. It's be providing attention, putting the spotlights on different things and different topics in the content space. So the fact that we started this, I feel grateful for having all of you all here. And yeah, I think if there's anything else anyone wants to say, we can wrap it up.
Nah, we good. Just create content out there, guys. That's it. Yeah.
That's Creatre Cast, episode 2, done and dusted. Peace out. Make sure you're